Yeah, now stand and cheer for your Talking Basketball podcast. Welcome back to this episode. This is the second part of a doubleheader. If you haven't heard the first, go back and listen to it. If you can't be bothered, that's all right. Just keep listening to this one, and hopefully you enjoy it. And don't forget, like and subscribe. I hate it when people say that.
It was an interesting week. Week 23, I still get confused by the weeks. We've probably got 3 weeks left. Then we're going into the playoffs. So let's just talk about that.
Do you think, because of this podcast, I might be able to get a voiceover on the War of Rohan? To the king! Lord Commander, come with me. That was just a soldier, random soldier.
Hello. That's another random soldier,
What? No.
Hello.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah, yours sounds like a proper cartoon character.
But maybe you could. Who knows? If you're listening, if you're someone who does do voiceovers, or you do things for films and that, just drop us a line and
I will do anything you say.
You probably want to put a few caveats in there, mate.
Oh dear, that'd be great. Being a voice on Lord of the Rings. Oh, I'm a wizard, Frodo. That was a wizard. I just did that. Bit easy. There you go. Next.
What's this? David Brent does terrible voiceovers.
Oh, right. So what's next? Playoffs in 3
playoffs.
weeks?
Yeah, so playoffs in 3 weeks, and we had to look them up just to double check. So it is a best of 3 games. So if
That's the old NBA style, wasn't it?
Yeah.
3,
So
the first early rounds.
So you got one versus 8, which at the moment would be London versus Bristol. Next one, you'd have Cheshire versus Surrey. Next, you'd have Caledonia versus Sheffield. Then you'd have Newcastle versus Leicester. So those would be the 4 games. So as soon as you get the playoffs, because there's only 10 teams in the BBL, the playoffs are essentially quarterfinals.
So you really want to get into the 3 to 4, don't you? Really?
I
Is that right? What? No. What? How?
Yeah.
Where's it go after that?
I mean, look, you basically want to be between 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you're in that middle table, because if you're 7th, you're playing Cheshire. If you're 8th, you're playing London. You're not. Bristol and Surrey are not beating Cheshire and London.
But what I'm saying is, yeah.
Whereas if you're Caledonia, and you said Caledonia versus Sheffield, I think Caledonia would take that. But at the same time, Sheffield could easily flip over Leicester. Then you've got Leicester versus Caledonia. Well, that's quite an interesting game. That's quite even. We saw that during this week. That was a fight. Leicester, Newcastle versus Leicester itself, or Newcastle versus Sharks. Imagine that if Leicester and Sheffield flip over.
I think
Leicester
some of the
in 6th.
semi-finals are going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah. So
can you see past London in a 3-game series?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, look, all I'll say is this:
if something happens in game 1, maybe.
Okay, I don't.
But
like
London
going
to be home the whole time.
Let's be obvious. Firstly, you have injuries. Doesn't matter who's on form, what's going on. Anyone can have an injury. That changes everything. We've seen it with you. We've seen it with every NBA player who's playing some finals or other that have picked up injury. It just changes the game. Look at Kevin Durant, Golden State, picked up his injury. They didn't win that year.
Life can change in a moment.
Yeah, it can indeed. But I just think if you've got the best 3 games, it's not too drawn out, especially if you're in quarterfinals. So it's best of 3, then you get to the final. That's it. What? Go on, just say
I can do a Gollum impression if you want.
I'd love. Let's have a Gollum impression.
No,
I'm not editing.
I don't know
this,
if I could do it with a brace.
Yeah, maybe don't do that then. I don't want a pair of teeth landing on my desk. Thank you very much.
So yeah, I've spoken about this with a lot of people, so it's only fair that I voiced this opinion on this podcast, especially if all about the BBL. The BBL is not the NBA. the NBA is split into a Western Conference and Eastern Conference. There isn't one league. So you got East, West, and then they play each other in the playoffs, East, 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 and it's the best of the East versus the best of the West. Yeah?
Yep.
Simple. This is one table. So the best team is the team that wins the league. So what's the value of the playoffs? If you had set North and South, I get it. I get it then.
Yeah. They haven't got enough.
But can you see what I mean?
Yeah.
When you've got one league, London Lions are the best team in the league. What's the value in the playoffs?
Let me take that one further.
It's almost like another cup, isn't it?
Let me take that one further. What's the point on any of these teams playing any of the games the rest of the season?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Once you're in the playoffs, yeah.
What's the point of the London Lions playing any game?
Pride.
Well, they don't have to. They literally at first, no one can catch them. So they might as well field everyone and get who gets almost no minutes. Get them out, get them running around. Just play a load of bogey teams. Probably the same for Cheshire. They don't have to worry if anyone's going to catch them. It doesn't matter. Caledonia. Well, I mean, Cheshire.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's nothing. You're in the playoffs. So
if you're Bristol Flyers, the second that Bristol capture it, unless they've got a genuine chance of catching Surrey, you might as well think, guys, let's just rest, because the next game we're going to be playing is worth anything is London Lions. Other than that, what are we playing for?
Yeah,
and that is the real problem with having the season decided so soon.
I'd love to see the league double. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I think you could do it. It's venues. It's all venues. And a lot of them, they'd say, oh, you've got to show that you can support a team and you can support this. I get all of that. I get under the financials. I understand all of that. But the reality is, if I said right now, there's a genie and a genie could make 10 stadiums appear in big or reasonable cities around, let's put one in Exeter, bang. Let's put one in I don't know, Swindon, for example.
Well, I think you got
Reading. Let's put
Birmingham.
one in Birmingham. Let's put one in Cardiff.
Glasgow.
Let's put one in Glasgow. Let's put one in.
I think there's a few teams around
Portsmouth.
there.
Let's put one in Brighton or Worthing or somewhere like that. Let's go put one in, I don't know, somewhere out near Essex way. Let's just say you could populate 10 big stadiums straight off the bat.
Liverpool.
When we spoke to Paul Blake, what did he say? It's not just about the basketball.
It's sustainability, isn't it?
It's sustainable. You've got offices there. They do functions there. They have people going to there. They have, Keith was telling me the other day, they were playing basketball, and at the other end, they had like 2 full, was it softball or netball games going off, and like loads of people watching and stuff at the other end, and they're still playing a full thing on the big court, completely uninterrupted. And you go, the spaces are massive. You can use them all. It's like, just get rid of the badminton courts and you've got no problem at all. You can do all of that stuff there. And what does it do? It gives something for the community. It gives youths a place to go. It gives adults a place to go. It's businesses all centre around it. All the other businesses feed into it. But they don't do it.
Yeah, it'd be great to see the BBL expand. And one of the main things, I can't help just keep looking at Plymouth and what's going to happen there if they're losing that venue.
I don't know. I can't see how they.
I love that venue, and I think the fans are great. Love the mascot.
Yeah, from what we understand, its rent's gone up. It's too costly, and they just can't pay it anymore. They just run out of time there, and they thought they weren't going to play there this year. So I think this was a kind of a.
I think you have got a couple of venues at Plymouth, though. You don't forget you got the Raiders playing. I don't know where that is, but you got them. They're playing there.
But a lot of those are connected with the university, which is Plymouth Mahjong.
But they should probably bring that all together, or is there an issue?
That's like Portsmouth and Southampton coming together side of things. The city's a bit divided because of the way in which the basketball's separated, as I understand it. So it's kind of there's almost like 2 basketball worlds existing down there.
For me,
because basketball will be down there for a long time.
You're in the BBL, you got a franchise that comes before everything. Everyone should just support that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real shame. But
that was my point. And
it's
I wanted
very
to raise
exciting.
it because a few people had highlighted to me, what's the value in the playoffs? And I kept on saying to them, I would consider the playoffs as a cup competition.
Yeah.
Because London are the best team. Look, they've won 10 more games than anyone else.
Yeah. And, you know, look,
They've got 20 more points than anyone else at the moment. It's like
London Lion men's and London Lion women's, got to give them shout outs this year for how well they've done in the European competitions. I know Newcastle have crashed out of the European competitions, the NBL, and so have Bristol, I believe, now. But for the London Lions, the ladies got right through to the finals, and the men's are through to the quarterfinals or semi-finals, I think.
Coming up.
Yeah, that's coming up. And, you know, you've got to give them credit for that. But what it does highlight, exactly what you're saying, is the gulf between those teams and some of the others. You're paying big salaries for very competent players. It's, there's a lot going on. But the final games in the season, when you're looking, April 21st.
April 21st, yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, that's playoffs. So 3 weeks we got, everything gets rounded up. I guess there is worthiness in playing some of these games just for the sake of some of this mid-table jostling.
You could have a better run in, but that's the one thing I would highlight, and there's a lot of people that don't understand the playoffs.
Yeah.
You don't have playoffs in football, do you?
No.
We only have playoffs because they got it in America. Just understanding the value of it. But if you had a north-south, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because
your All-Star makes more sense then.
Well, also as well, actually thinking about that, if you're doing North and South, where you've got 10 teams, you've got 5 and a 5. I think I'm right in saying that because there's 15 in each East and West, there's three in each. There's 3 sub people in each.
Yeah, like Atlantic.
Yeah.
And all that. Yeah.
So I think it is 5, 5 and 5 as well in those. So that would be like 2 divisions effectively. So you can have a North and South. It would be, say, like having Eastern and
but I think the BBL
Northeast
have had this problem for 40 years, where you've had 10, sometimes 12 teams in the league, and it's never really got more than that. And then you get these teams that turn up, have a spell for 3-4 years, then go. So, you know, like, I mean, what Paul Blake said is right. You know, you want sustainable teams in there, but there are teams.
So how's Manchester a sustainable team when they don't have an owner?
But with that structure, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the organisations, like what they're doing, the Reading Rockets, the Cardiff setup,
Cardiff Archers, I believe.
Yeah, Cardiff Archers, Met Archers. There's quite a few of them. You look at it and just go, oh,
but Manchester,
they're not a million miles away.
No, but look at Manchester Giants. They've got that massive centre, haven't they? The National Basketball Centre. I know you've been there on some training sessions, and that's a big place. But Manchester Giants isn't owned by anyone. So the league actually own Manchester Giants at the moment. They don't have any main owner because they had administration problems or whatever. So it got taken over because of some things or whatever. Then you look at, and also their venue is the national venue. So it's owned by the UK. Then you look at the London Lions. They don't own the Copper Box. They rent it, but they don't own it.
Imagine doing the sound for a BBL game. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Although, did you see the?
Did you see
the flyover of the national anthem? I can't remember what it was, somewhere recently, and I can't remember what state. If it was a baseball game or something, and they went, "Please stand for the national anthem," and they had some planes flying over like they like to do, and someone put on an interestingly titled hip hop track. Yeah, over the top, and it was a meme because it was like it came out with some interesting lyrics, quickly got flipped over to the American. Yeah, exactly. And you can just think someone just literally just lost their job. You just heard 3 seconds of someone losing their job.
You don't know. Someone could have broken into the PA system, or this is someone's job, and they've gone, "Yeah, I'm going to put this on."
That's probably what they were listening to, and then went to put that on, and obviously didn't fade it out.
Well, let's see. Let's see if there's any understanding there.
Doubtful.
But you know what? I actually would I think it'd be great to try our setup for a BBL game.
Yeah,
I'm fairly confident it would be considered one of the better ones.
yeah, I agree.
But yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
Right,
Well,
right.
We wouldn't know from the BBL because they never talk to us.
No, I've written some nice letters though.
I've written emails. I've tried contact. I've spoken to people in the office.
I don't think they like you, Mark.
Well, yeah, maybe not. They don't have to like me. What we do is good. And, you know, I'm going to just say it now. All of you, anyone who listens, we massively appreciate. We massively appreciate you downloading, streaming, however you absorb this. Because we love doing it. And, you know, when Paul's back to health, we've got loads of people that we want to speak to.
Oh, we got some big ones coming up. We got some real big names coming up.
But if you think want to say previous player, or you know a previous player, you think, hey, you guys should really speak to this person.
Yeah, get him on.
Get him on. Who do you want to speak to? Oh, my Uncle Dennis. Dennis who? Dennis Rodman. Get Uncle Dennis on. Yeah, we'll have a chat with Uncle Dennis. That would be hilarious. I don't even think he'd fit in the booth, but
yeah, that'd be awesome. Well,
but yeah, thank you so much for everyone who always listens. And we have got loads coming up, but the next few weeks will be muddling a few bits around, but we will be doing more and more interviews as and when we get back in our stride.
Okay, well, I've got a fact for you, Mark.
No.
This is going to make your blood boil. And I'm going to call the team out on this. Bear with me because I'm going to find out who it is. This is an embarrassment.
While you're doing that, can we just say, did you see Kyrie's left-handed skyhook last week?
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, it's good.
That Kareem was like, that's a damn sky. That's how you use the left hand.
It's good.
Man, I loved it. Just the way that everyone gave it in, and he just went, and that was like, that's going in. Absolutely.
I liked
it reminded me of Gary
reactions.
Payton as well. It was just that, the way it was, the rolling up, but it was more of a sky hook, that one. But there was something about it, you just thought,
yeah,
effortless.
I liked some of the reactions of the other players. It was like, what just happened?
Yeah, they're just blowing. And you know, when you got someone, I'm going to say Luka, obviously, but when you see that and they're looking like, oh my.
I think he went down on his knees. Did he?
Yeah, and he was just like, I can't believe it. And you just think, yeah, it was. But when people are high caliber and they're praising like that, but I mean, Dallas are coming on really well at the moment, and I am just gonna say this for Dallas while you're looking for that stuff.
Oh, I've got it. I'm ready.
So Dallas at the moment are in a really bad position in the playoffs, and I actually saved the screenshot just so I could show you it. But they're in a really bad position because they're not safe, so they're in that play-in, that 4-game play-in. The team that they're joint with, Sacramento, and then the two teams below them are Golden State and Lakers. And it's like, oh, you're two win.
Golden State, Mark. I told you from the start of the season, Golden State are getting in the playoffs.
But I just think if you've got,
what is that? We've got a fighter jet going over.
Yeah, well, the naval base.
It's bloody Putin started the war. What's going on?
All right, let's leave politics at the door. Thank you.
I can hear fire jets going over.
But if you've got Lakers,
hang on, it's Bristol Flyers doing a flyover for the podcast. That's what it is.
But Lakers, you saw what they did last season when they were out, and then they came from like 10th, then got in and got away through the finals. You think that's silly. In the same breath, Golden State did that in 2022. Arguably, they've got there, probably not. And they had quite a weak team, but they managed to get through. Those two are both caliber teams in the playoffs. Mavs, on the other hand, have not shown their mettle in the playoffs. To have them behind, and you've got the Kings in front of you, that's tough. And then the next team above them is Phoenix, and above them are the Pelicans. They're all teams that are outperforming, and you go,
There's only one team that everyone cares about, Mark. Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. Ooh. Right, I've got some news for you. This is National League news from England. I am going to say right now, look, it's 1 hour, 27 minutes into this podcast.
Ish.
This is a moment that could turn in a a viral moment around the world.
What you're going to do now?
What I'm about to show you. This should be viral because this is an embarrassment to basketball in England.
Oh, your teeth aren't going to fall out again, are they?
No, they're not. But this is under 14 National League girls fixture. Yeah?
Okay.
And I'm going to call out on this because they're playing the Portsmouth Force.
Okay.
And that's obviously our team. And after this fixture, I actually went to Chairman Rob Milner and said, can we put an all-out rule, blanket rule for the Portsmouth Force and say,
yep,
if you go up by 40 points, you take your foot off the pedal,
yep,
even to the point where you tell the players, let them score. Yeah? Because I hate it when teams just demolish you and then kick you whilst you're down and then celebrate in your face. What are you accomplishing by beating someone by loads? Yeah?
Okay.
You had that American victory. Remember what it was like? What was that? 130?
Oh, it was terrible.
To 20 or something like that?
Yeah, it was bad.
No, not as bad as this.
Really?
Basketball England even got the score wrong by 1 point.
Oh, no.
So this is against the Bristol Mambas. And look, your coach, whoever the coach is, you should be embarrassed now.
Okay.
If I was, a parent of one of these players, I'd be embarrassed because I'd be saying, let Portsmouth score. You know, the Portsmouth Force girls team are learning to play basketball.
Okay.
And Mark, that is the score.
So this is Bristol versus Portsmouth, yeah?
Under 14 National League.
Bristol Mambas.
It's 159. No, it's not
195. XG 195. That one.
Yeah, but it's one. They scored 159 points.
Are you serious?
Not 160. So the end score was Bristol Mambas 159, Portsmouth Force 0.
0.
What is the point? I mean, everyone involved in that fixture, with the exception of the away team, the Portsmouth team, should be embarrassed by that. Don't you think? What do Bristol benefit by beating something by 159 points? And this is where Basketball England really are failing, because they need to put something in place to stop this from happening. They need to do things like
106 nil.
159 to nothing.
159.
Like I said, the Portsmouth Force is a development team. These guys are just learning how to play the game.
So these girls, it's like their first.
This is their first time playing, and they're just. And when you get beaten by 159 points, you could turn around and say, "Oh, I can't be bothered. I'm not going to play anymore." And when I saw that fixture, I went, "Come on, Rob, we should put an all-out thing. Look, as soon as 40, step off the gas." But the problem is, if you get a high aggregate in points, you can win the league based on that.
Oh, is that what it is?
And this is where Basketball England, I believe, could do something about it, to say, no matter what the score, you only get 20 points or 40 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So rather than say, right, you got 159 extra points. Okay, that then gets moved down to 40 or 30. Okay, I think that then takes the incentive away.
30's, I think, fair.
Well, that takes the incentive away from demolishing teams.
Well, I'm seeing one here, look, at 52.84. If you just said, all right, then we're calling that 52.8. We're recording it as a 30 point. That's it.
Yeah, and teams.
You go, that's fine. You're not going to feel too bad.
But teams do it because they're vying for, sometimes on points with certain teams.
29 to 91.
It's embarrassing.
24 to 104.
I remember as a ref once, the Kestrels, because I saw a few views on this, and I thought, it's calling the what's the saying? Calling the pot the kettle black. So what's that saying?
Yeah, that's right.
And a little bit like that. I remember reffing once, and the Kestrels, they were winning by 80 or something at half time. And I said to the coach, you're winning by 80. What are you doing? They can't even get the ball to the halfway line. He was like, we need to score 200 on them. And it was like, this is embarrassing. It was embarrassing to be a part of like reffing it.
Yeah.
But I did come up with an idea because I was really trying to think of how can they get this out of the game. And I thought when it comes to league standings,
Yep.
if you got two teams tied, rather than saying, if I was won the league and it would go, yeah, you won the league because you beat the losers of the league by more points than someone else beat the losers by the league. You haven't won. You haven't won anything there. You know what I mean?
No.
I think they should say
a face-off.
If a face-off, you could do that. Or if you're tied, obviously go on the head-to-head.
Yeah, 100%.
If that's tied, go to the team in third place. If that's tied, go to the team in fourth place. That makes more sense because then those teams have got, it's not what you do against the bottom of the league, it's what you do against the top of the league, which is creating competitiveness. And that's what I thought was the best idea here.
You know what? That's a great way of putting that. That's a great way of how you explain that for competitiveness. You can't get better unless you're playing the best, and you want to see that competitive spirit. You want to see good teams and good teams fighting together. That's why, ironically, when you see people at the bottom who are fighting together, they're actually entertaining games as well because they're on an even level. Whereas when you're seeing someone who's not got the same depth or talent or just basketball experience, simple as that.
Well, I was gonna write a letter to one of my long emails to BE, and then I was gonna call them and say, ask them if they wanted to come on the podcast and talk about this, because I don't think it's a subject that they're not going to want to talk about. They're going to want to resolve this because some of these fixtures are embarrassing. But I do think as a basketball community, we should also come together as coaches and go, okay, let them score 10 points. If that was 159-10, it would look a lot better. You beat someone by 0. I mean, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
I mean,
what are Bristol getting out of that game other than go, yeah, we beat bottom of the league by 159. Oh, yeah, and we won the league. And you only beat them by 130. Like, no one's getting anything out of that. Anyway, that was the idea I came out, and I think they should do a blanket. That should be blanket across the board.
Yeah.
So, like, Kestrel's Breakers, what an amazing way to finish the season.
Yeah.
But if they were still 7 points, okay, see how they performed against third place.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my idea. That's what I wanted to share. Can you see what I mean? That is a potential viral moment there. 159-0.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think BE have got a lot of things to answer for the way in which basketball is. It seems to be played, the more and more people you look at and the more places you talk to, kids are playing basketball everywhere. There's more and more people playing it. And not just because it's in our city, it's always been in our city at some form or other. As we've been talking with all the interviews we've had, the torch has passed from person to person to person. And it will be in other cities around the country. There's places that have established in the 70s and 80s and carried it through, right through to today. There's always other people who are carrying it on. But what's sad is that for some reason, then what? That's what always seems to happen. And without that encouragement of people to go, outside of playing in school, which is always one of the most popular games for kids in school, it's a fact, it's out there, the stats are there. And yet outside of school, if you want to do kids clubs and you want to do that sort of stuff, all that promotion is left individually to that individual club to do all that work. There's no support behind it. There's no anything behind it. And the way that I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the involvement that someone like BE will give will be like, wow, if you want to have that illegal game, you have to have a BE ref. How do we do that? Well, you pay us money, we train you, you give a certificate, then you pay us every year, and then we allow you to be a ref in that league. Okay, so basically I have to buy into this. Yes, you have to do work. Yes, you have to train and study. I get all of that. But ultimately, like any professional, if you're a project manager or anything like that, the same sort of rules apply. You have to go do some study, you have to learn some bits, but then every year you have to keep paying in to a governing body. And you think, well, what am I getting out of you from a governing body now to keep doing something? I'm the one who has to run all this. I'm the one who has to do all this. What are you pushing back to us? So I'm quite interested, because all of the people who've gone into coaching, where do they get back? I don't see that. Other people don't see that.
And What I would
I'm
say,
sure they do things, but no one knows about it.
But-
And if you have this funding, where's it go?
yeah.
You know, because, for example, does any of that funding...
Hopefully, some of it goes on medical insurance.
Well, does any of that funding, for example, go to the National Basketball Centre? Okay, great. Well, that's wonderful for all the kids who are based in Manchester. Some of it might go to the Copper Box because it just happens to be in London and there's the Olympic Village and there's a tie. Great, that's fantastic. What about all the kids who are around the country who don't have a facility that's anywhere near that? What about the kids in Brighton or Worthing? Where are they going down is it the BIC or wherever it is? Or in Bournemouth? Do they pay? You know, how does that all get distributed out? And one of our guests coming up will have some answers for that.
Oh. You have to ask him. Yeah,
He'll have answers for some of that sort of stuff.
Well, I just, when I saw that fixture, I thought if those girls pulled out of the league and went, we never want to play again,
I totally get it.
you would go, okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
And I just think, in particular, my biggest gripe would be with the coach, the Bristol coach. I think that's embarrassing. Even the refs, I know I'm a bit anti-refs at the moment, but even the refs, if as a ref, you're getting beating someone by that, you got to be calling every little tiny thing just to let them get up the court. Again, even as a parent, you'd be saying, ease up. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. But I wanted to share that with you because that's embarrassing, isn't it? I actually think Basketball England, Bristol, the country should be embarrassed with that.
Yeah. I mean, that is
1 hour 27. Just start there, Mark.
That was 43 points Q1, 44 points Q2, 38 points Q3, and 35 points Q4.
You know, you why not? Even if it, just let them come up and score. But can you see what I mean? If Basketball England said
it's Q1,
you're only getting 30 points for that.
If you're looking, and at Q1, the end of Q1, it's 43-0. I think you know which way the game's going. But then you get to the end of the half. Let me get there. The end of the half, and it's 87-0. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could call this game right now.
Yeah.
But let's carry it on, shall we? Then we'll add 38 more onto that. It's like, why are we going to do that? What possible reason is there for saying, I know, instead of being 87, I know it's 125, but I'm just saying, 125-0 at the end of the Q3.
You would just say, let them score, wouldn't you?
At the half, you're like...
Yeah.
When it's 43-0, you think, come on, I'm hoping
this feels like a culture, again, like I've said, we don't want to beat you, we want to humiliate you.
Yeah.
And I remember playing in a tournament against the Solent Kestrels, and I was under 12s.
You may have mentioned it.
I had the under 12s, and they pretty much had, in an under 12s tournament, they had a couple of 13-year-olds, and they were like, yeah, but we've got 8-year-olds, so it kind of balances out. It was like, oh, okay. I went, all right, I think in the first 5 minutes into the game, it was 22-0. And they were playing full court press. And I was like, I said to the coach, Coach, clearly I said it so other people can hear, I went, my team's never played a game of basketball before. Are you going to play full court the whole game? Yeah. Okay, good point. Half court defense. It's I just thought, what a loser. What a loser. You don't want to just beat someone, you want to humiliate them. And I've got no time at all for people like that. And that's an embarrassment. But there you go, I want to share it with you.
Yeah, that's disgusting, really, that people can let it get to that far.
But BE could help by having this 30-point thing and then removing the whole
points mean prizes
aggregate thing by saying it goes on. If you're even, it goes on the second team, then the third team, then the fourth team. You got to beat the better teams to win a league. That's what I think.
They're quite happy. They're quite happy to be changing the NBL and putting all the different changes. I think Division 3 next year is splitting again, isn't it? We've got different people in there, and there's another split for NBL Division 3. Is that right?
Yeah. So again, this is a little strange, but you've got they're splitting Division 3 because there's I think it was 80 teams in Division 3.
Right. So let me just stop you on that. 80 teams in Division 3. Okay.
Yeah. NBL Div 3.
Yeah. 80.
I think there were 7 or 8 divisions, something like that.
Yeah. So how many players on each team? 15 in a squad, roughly, give or take.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah. Think how many players that is of people weekly participating in sport, plus all the people who are coming to watch those games, plus all the people who learn and listen to basketball, or parents or spouses or partners, whoever it is, who have to sit there and watch basketball games as well because they love the game. That's how many people are really involved in basketball. And then how many coaches are there? How many trainers are there? How many physios are there? How many people who do the scores? People like Sarah who can do the table or do the other things or do stand-in refs or all of those things. All of that is part of Basketball England. And you go, I can't help wondering, there seems to be a lot of physical people involved in this. I know football's the primary sport in the UK, but there seems to be a lot more people involved in basketball than it does, say, cricket. Now, maybe I'm mental.
Get Sarah on. I think should be pretty funny on here. Should be good.
Oh, yeah.
Should be good. But yeah, no. So I think there's 7 divisions, and you've got anywhere between 8 to 12 teams per division. So there's about 8. So let's just round up. There's about 80 teams, let's say. So what they're doing is, entry league is NBL Div 3. So they're now changing it to NBL Div 3 Conference is entry.
Yeah.
And if you get promoted in that, you go to NBL Div 3, NBL Div 2, NBL Div 1. I don't know why they just don't call it NBL Div 4.
I don't know.
When I was playing 20 years ago, you started in Div 4 and you worked your way up. But I don't know. I don't know if that's a bit of a... We don't want people to feel they're in Div 4. We've got to say conference makes it feel better. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Listen, anyone be listening, come and have a chat with us.
I'm getting in touch.
We got loads of questions. I mean, my other question is the whole BBL on BB, because you got the NBL and then you got BBL. And you look at that and you go, I can't help thinking there should be more of a connection, but in the same way, it's not. You actually, not only do you not...
BBL is a brand.
Yeah, you don't want a connection in a way. It's like, who do BE ultimately want to flourish the most? NBL. Why is that? Because you've just said in Division 3, there's 80 teams. Just Division 3. Then you've got Division 2 and Division 1. So you've probably got almost 200 teams in total in the NBL. Maybe.
Hang on, say that again. I think in Div 1, it's one division.
Yeah, so how many is that? 20 teams or something?
No.
15?
It's maybe 12.
Okay,
maybe
12.
I'm guessing.
Division 2?
You then have North and South.
Yep, so then let's say
20.
Okay.
Div 3, 7 divisions.
7 divisions, okay. So let's say...
Well, I think.
So there's 70 there, plus another 35, let's say, on top. So even if that, you've got 105, 110 teams. Or you've got the BBL that's got 10.
But it does make you think.
Who's got the bigger...
Who could go up?
Who's got the bigger fan base?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why...
Who's got the bigger... Who is in every person's household? Who actually not only is in the household, but affects people's lives every day? Because most of those players are semi-pro or just...
Yeah, but this is why the BBL isn't as big, because you go to someone like the Kestrels and say, who do you support? Kestrels.
Yeah.
Who do you... go to anyone in Portsmouth. Who do you... I support the Force. And it's like, oh, okay, but you can have a BBL team as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit like people saying, oh, I support Portsmouth Football Club. Oh, but who do you support in the Premier?
Yeah.
Oh, whoever. Man City, Arsenal, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know why people can't do that. But with basketball, it's like, no, I support my home team.
And I think a lot of sports still, even if you go to the States, a lot of sports are still based on where your home is, not necessarily even where you live or work. It's just where your home is. There's the geographic-centric... I don't know, the populace or whatever the cross section is that's associated with that team is usually around your hometown.
But it is the right decision what they're doing, splitting it, because you've got, I think it was 79 teams, something like that, and then you're now going to have, say, 40 or something like that in Division 3, 40 in the conference. And the reason this is the right decision, because just highlighting the Portsmouth Force, they were in South East Division 3. When that started, I think there were like 12 teams.
Yes.
I think it was 12 teams, maybe. It could have been 11. I think it was 12 teams. The season's just finished, and there's 8 teams.
Yeah. A lot of people bombed out, didn't they?
So, yeah.
And denied us 2 home games.
Yeah, you had to, like, I don't know if they finished the season, but it's like, yeah, you can just have the win. It's like,
what?
This is, like, I think that was the Kent Panthers. Yeah, just have the win. We're not going to come down.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, this is National League Div 3.
Well, their main guy went off to Japan or something, didn't he?
But it's just like, what are we talking about? You want to play National League or you don't? And the league loses a bit of its, what's the word?
It makes it sound like
less
local league, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't have as much quality when you go, just have the win. Like,
and that's the thing.
What? That's why Portsmouth really need to get into Div 2.
But that is the hook that local league, that's the hook that National League has over BBL. That's the one massive hook that they have. And that's the fact that you've got local league. So you've got the teams like the Fury. And then if the Fury did well enough, there's a progression that they could then go and it could become a National League team.
Anyone can become a National League
team.
No,
I know, but what I'm saying is...
You've got to register and you can go straight into Div 3 conference. Fury could go in Div 3 conference next season if they wanted to.
Yeah, but what I mean is you've got that contact with the grassroots of basketball. Local league players, people who are playing in their spare time. And most people who play in their spare time and are doing it in their spare time, it's because they love the game. They're the ones who buy the NBA League Pass. They're the ones who spend the money on jerseys. Not the people who turn up and go sit at,
there you go. That's what's happening with Div 3.
Yeah,
that's what's happening. But I think they should just call it Div 4 myself. Anyway, I got one last thing for you. You're going to love this. I want to talk about the NCAA current tournament going on at the moment. And in particular, I want to talk about Rogi Alvia. So that was supposed to be Robbie, but it came out Roggy because of my freaking braces. Robbie Alvila. You seen this guy?
Yes.
Yeah? There's another picture
hang
for
on.
you.
Oh, hang on. I forgot the name. No. Oh, what are they calling him?
You want to hear some of his nicknames?
Yes.
Cream.
Yes.
Cream Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes.
Because of the glasses. He's got a couple of other nicknames.
Yeah, but they're calling him Cream because he's white.
Yeah.
But he's wearing the glasses. Yeah.
Larry Nerd.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Oh, dear. Larry Blurred. Oh, dear.
Larry Blurred.
Larry Bird, because he's got glasses on. Whoever came up with that deserves a medal. Oh, dear. College Jokic.
No, that's not even fun.
That's the worst one.
That is terrible.
That's the worst one. I really like this one as well. Milk Chamberlain.
All right, that's good. That is good.
Oh, dear.
That is very,
That's
very
a good one.
Milk Chamberlain.
I like Larry Blurred. That's my favourite one, I think. I like coming up with names of venues and stuff.
I am aware of this, yeah.
I got a good nickname for him.
Oh, no.
And I apologise now. Stay Puft the Marshmallow Man.
Oh, blimey. That's a bit harsh. That is, you're burning in hell for that.
Oh,
that
dear.
is terrible.
Oh, that's funny, wasn't it? Oh, dear.
Well, my highlight was an otter dunking a basketball.
Wow.
That's how good I get.
Oh, dear. You didn't like Larry Blurred?
No, I love Larry Blurred. Yeah, that was a shocker.
Stay Puft.
Going to hell for that. Wow. I mean, So ends another episode of the Talking Basketball podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And this will be a two-parter, no doubt, because we've gone on for so long. But it's great to have you back in the studio, buddy. And
I'm only back.
You're only back for
week.
this week, but I'm sure in the weeks to come, we're going to have a few other guests. And if you haven't listened to any of our episodes, go back and check them out, because we've got 86 now. And I'm sure there's something for everyone. I have been Mark.
I have been Paul, and I'd just like to say a huge shout out to Robbie Aravella, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Blurd, Larry Nerd, Milk Chamberlain, Stay Puft, Mars Runnerman.
Just remember, if you played badminton, you'd have never lost your teeth.